your radio voice, please. Just do something a bit cheesy for us.
Hello and welcome to President of M. I'm Chris Hall, and we're here with John Nichol. We're going to be reviewing some films, some great big films, including the greatest film out at the moment, possibly ever. It's Liam Neeson's film Run All Night, where he runs, quite literally, all night.
It's just a great voice. Just a great voice. Right, listen, we are going to move on to Run All Night, which stars Liam Neeson. And it's kind of been a bit of a running joke during our reviews that Liam Neeson has kind of been this kind of one-dimensional character. That's all he plays. He'll play these kind of tough fathers who are out to get revenge. Is it the same for this?
Yes.
Oh dear.
No punchline to that. Yes, it is Liam Neeson as Liam Neeson in the Liam Neeson story. This movie is just a Taken movie by another name. You know, it's kind of sad seeing that this is where Liam Neeson's career has gone, seeing from where he began to where he is now. And no joke, and I mean that this isn't a punchline, this isn't a joke or anything, but the best performance I think he's done over the past few years has been in the Lego Movie. Because at least that had some spirit to that and some energy. If you watch any movie, even movies like Darkman that he did in the 90s, you have this spirit, you got this energy, this zest. Now I just see this horrible, soulless husk of a man just shuffling about with a face like a leather handbag. But anyway, the story to this movie is that after witnessing a murder, Mike Conlon, played by Joel Kinnaman, is being hunted down by the mob. And his father, Jimmy, a hitman who also happens to be working for that mob, accidentally kills the mob boss's son, trying to save his son. And as a result, the mob are now after both him and his son. They're going to hunt them down, whatever the cost. And Liam Neeson has one night to clear his son's name and his name and etc., etc. He has a certain set of skills that he's acquired over a certain period of time.
Does he do one of those speeches?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, awesome. We need to get audio of that ASAP, please.
Wow, my word. He's dressed in the Taken way, in that black leather jacket that he has. He goes about smoking a cigarette in almost every scene. He's shooting up the place, as he does in the Taken movies. This is just Taken 4, but by another name, which is the surprising thing about it. I think it was literally just a month ago that we were reviewing Taken 3. And in a couple of weeks' time, we got that movie Gunman with Sean Penn in, directed by the guy that had Taken. So we're just in this weird limbo land of just Taken and Taken rip-offs and Taken-inspired movies. The movie is wholly unremarkable, which seems to be the go word of today. It is the Taken formula done in a way which is vaguely interesting. Much like the DreamWorks movie we just reviewed, the story in this, much like it is in the Taken movies, is just a vehicle for action sequences. And the action sequences within this movie are perfectly serviceable. They're not awe-inspiring. They're not that inspired. The one good action sequence in this is the car chase sequence, which actually feels real. There doesn't feel to be any CGI or silly effects thrown into it. It generally does feel as though two cars are thumping into each other. You do feel a sense of jeopardy before the people involved with it, but also the civilians that are around with it. Too many car chase movies that you have at the moment, they're knocking into people, they're driving people off the road, trucks are running over taxis and pedestrian vehicles, and everyone's blowing up, and here we don't get that so much in that car chase, but everything else, it's Liam Neeson, gruff, angry, shooting people again and again. The one interesting aspect to this is Joel Kinnaman's character, even though his performance in this is the exact same as John J. Connor's in Die Hard 5 when he played Jack McClane. It is just, he's the son of Liam Neeson. He hates his father because his father was off having Taken adventures, and girl, I hate you, Dad, you don't understand me, blah blah blah, in a way which feels very much reminiscent of Kevin and Perry. The interesting thing about his character is that, and it's one of the few interesting things about it, is that his character, Joel Kinnaman's character, doesn't want to be involved in the world of mobsters and crime. He's trying to have a legitimate life for himself, even though his father is this legendary figure within that particular mob. He's trying to have a normal life to provide for his family, even that means he's having a low-paid minimum wage job where he's having to be a taxi driver, a limo driver rather, for rich people, and he's trying to mentor a young lad who, without his guidance, probably would turn to crime. All that is interesting. The Taken stuff isn't. It really, really, really isn't. And strangely, much like the Home movie, this is another movie set around Christmas. There is a scene in which Liam Neeson has to dress up as Father Christmas. In a scene that I suppose is supposed to be funny, but it isn't. It's just sad. But not like in the dramatic, oh, this character's a washed-up drunk kind of way, but in the Is this really all that's left for Liam Neeson to do now? Make rude, lurid, sexist jokes whilst wearing a Father Christmas costume? Is this where his career has gone?
Well, compare it with previous, like, say, Taken 3 that you did say was released a few weeks ago, and we did review it on the show. Compared with that, because you've already said that this movie is kind of that, there's been a murder, you know, no sin goes unpunished, you know, that sort of thing. Compare it with the Taken movie. Is this better or worse?
It is better because it actually functions more of a Taken movie than Taken 3 did. Taken 3... But the sad thing about it is that at the heart of it, there's a pretty interesting thriller idea. Probably something that isn't new or original, but with a bit of tweaking, take out the references to Taken, make the action a little bit more meaningful, maybe a bit practical, and maybe with less sequences where he's driving into people, knocking trucks over and throwing jets at people, and Lord only knows what else he was doing in that movie that I simply can't remember. At least then you'd have had something interesting, but you don't. It's him being grumpy. This one's better because there is some grit to it, there is some action and some good pacing to it. There is a movie which is of its age. It's 15 certificate, and it is quite happily 15 certificate. It's not like Taken 3 where they edited out the blood squibs and edited out the swearing just to make it a 12A certificate movie. This is 15 certificate, and it's proud to be, and that's at least a good point to it. If you're going to see it, you're going to see a Taken-esque movie in all its gory glory, even though it is CGI blood squibs, which I really can't stand. It's fine if you were disappointed by Taken 3 and you want to see a proper Taken movie, see this, but if you are wanting something more substantial, if you're wanting an action movie that is going to feel a little bit less like a product, a little bit less like, oh, there's a bit where he has to have the threatening conversation, a bit where he has to drive a car, a bit where he has to light a cigarette whilst looking really cool, seems to be the recipe for the Taken movies. This isn't it. Apparently the John Wick movie is supposed to be getting released, which looks to be an interesting thing. There were some people actually that were surprised it wasn't nominated for an Oscar, so we'll probably get on to reviewing that in about a month or so's time. So if you want something a bit more substantial, maybe wait till that comes out. But it's wholly unremarkable. Once again, we're in the drought period. We're in a period where films are just released out of contractual obligation. With the Home movie, it's a case of, yes, it was out of contractual obligation. It was supposed to come out in November for Thanksgiving, but it didn't, so it's out now. This one, it's hard to say because I've done some research into it, but there seems to be no suggestion that it was supposed to come out around Christmas time, despite the only evidence that there is that Liam Neeson dressed up as Father Christmas for some reason, which I don't understand, which says, oh, they must have done. That movie must have had to have come out around Christmas time. I found no evidence on it, but it has to have been. No one in the right mind would release a movie where Christmas features as part of the plot in March, unless they're insane.
Yeah. Mental, isn't it? So out of 10 then, how does this movie fare?
I'm not a fan of the marking stuff out of 10, but it's just average. It's distinctly average. It is a made-for-DVD movie. In a few years' time, you'll probably see it on TV, watch it then. It's really not worth going out and watching. I'm sad to say that. It is better than Taken 3. And of the movies that I've seen this week that have come out this week, sadly, it's the best. But, you know, that's not saying much.
Yeah, exactly.
We're in the drought. This is as best as we have this week, this movie. The movie I'm about to review is reviewed because it's St. Patrick's Day and it's an Irish movie through and through. Yeah. So I can't realistically involve that in the discussion because it came out 2 to 3 years ago. So sadly, film of the week is Run All Night.
Oh dear. Right, listen, what's that film called that you're reviewing next? What's it called?
Grabbers.
Oh, sounds interesting. We'll review that next. This is Blonde and Melissa Steele. It's I Loved You on 103.2 Preston FM.